She was a pretend Irish heiress, and her name, Mayor Smith. She was convicted of scamming our next guest out of nearly $100,000, along with many others around the world. She used her fake psychic abilities as a lure, landing her a fortune, but her fortune-telling days came to an end when her crimes caught up with her and eventually put her behind bars. She was jailed in Los Angeles for 5 years for scamming a very familiar name and face from H-Town. Former reporter here, now turned reality producer. His name is Jonathan Walton. And joining us tonight on The Factor Uncensored is Jonathan Walton, a familiar face here in Houston. And of course, he has quite the story to tell with this con artist. Irish heiress, fake Irish heiress, Marianne Smith, and how you were able to take her down. It's just mind-blowing. What a roller coaster ride with this woman.
Yeah, and I wouldn't believe a word of it, but it happened to me. It's all true. She was this new neighbor who moved into my building. I moved out of Houston back in 2007, moved to Los Angeles because Comedy Central was interested in the show. I pitched them, and then the writer's strike happened and Comedy Central went away and I was kind of unemployed and I started working in reality television. And over the years, I'd done a bunch of shows like, some you've heard of, Shark Tank, American Warrior. And I'm living in this nice building downtown Los Angeles and my new neighbor moves in. She's this Irish heiress. She says her name is Mayor Smith and she shows me, emails and text messages over the course of our friendship from her evil cousin Fintan and Tristan in Ireland. And I mean, how many times has someone shown you like their phone and look what so-and-so texted me? Did you ever for a second think, that's not so-and-so, that's a Google account that this person created to sell me on the idea that they're friends or they know so-and-so. So I had no idea I was getting conned. We were best friends for 4 years. She conned me out of almost $100,000.
Wow.
Meanwhile, she's scamming dozens of other people in Los Angeles out of money, and come to find out, 46 other victims all over the world in different states and different countries even. I get a call from a police detective in Northern Ireland, which is not Ireland. Northern Ireland's a separate country, part of the UK. They've been looking for her for 10 years. She was born in Bangor, Maine. She spent 9 years in Northern Ireland working for a mortgage company out there, scamming people through the mortgage company. And it's just so many crazy twists and turns in this story, but it's all part of a new podcast I'm doing for iHeartRadio called Queen of the Con, the Irish Heiress, available wherever you get your podcasts. The first 2 episodes are up now, a new episode every Thursday. It's just an insane story. And because of the notoriety that this case has received worldwide, other victims have come forward. We spoke to her family for the first time ever. Her daughter, who was raised by a con artist who the mother tricked her into helping her scam 500 grand from 26 victims. We talked to clients. I didn't know this. My con artist was a practicing witch. She was a witch. She used chicken bones and a thing called dragon's blood to cast spells. Yeah, this rabbit hole is so deep and insane. It's a 10-episode podcast. The Queen
and
of the
didn't she at some point pretend to be a psychic as well?
She did. She worked in Los Angeles as a psychic under the name Mayor Anya. She had dozens of clients she scammed as a psychic. She also, believe it or not, worked as a psychologist. Yeah, she was giving people therapy while scamming them. While this one woman who testifies in court in episode 8 of our podcast, Queen of the Con, the Irish Heiress, wherever you get your podcasts, she talks about how as she was seeing Marianne Smith as a psychologist, and she confessed to her that she's in love with this guy, and she doesn't know how to approach him. Lo and behold, Marianne Smith pretends, you know what? That guy is coincidentally taking life coaching classes from me.
Oh
and
my God.
Get you guys together. Yeah, so she creates a fake Google account number and texts herself as the guy, and she would show the client, look, he's thinking about you. He just texted me.
Oh my God.
Over the course of 10 months, she gets $10,000 out of this woman under the guise that she's brokering a romance with the guy she's in love with. Come to find out, it was all a scam, and she was just devastated. You know, she was devastated. Number one, the guy was never even knows her name, and number two, you know, she fell for a scam. Like, most people are not as vocal as me. Most victims of cons never say a word to anyone, and that enables their con artists to keep conning.
Now, in this age of social media and Google searches, why wasn't anyone Googling or searching her and figuring her out?
Well, that's a good point. So immediately when I realized she conned me, I started a website, jonathanwalton.com, and I told my story. I had no idea. She was a con artist. I didn't know there'd be other victims. I just wanted to get my story out there to save someone else who she might be conning. Come to find out, as soon as I posted my website, my blog, I start getting contacted from victims in Florida, in Tennessee, in Michigan, in New York, dozens in California, all telling me how different ways she conned them. And most of them don't want to be public about it. They don't want to go to police. She ran a catering business in Tennessee called Celtic Catering and scammed 20 grand from someone there. She scammed a couple of New York real estate investors in New York, tricking them into believing that her daughter needed emergency life-saving cancer surgery that insurance wouldn't cover. They wired her $60,000 to save her daughter's life. It was all a con. She got out of paying rent in my building, and I had no idea this was going on. She pretended to have cancer. She convinced our landlord she had cancer. And she got out of paying rent for almost 6 months.
What a grifter, what a grifter. Jonathan, always good to talk to you. And tell us again about your podcast and where we can find it and hear more about this crazy-ass woman.
Yes. It is called Queen of the Con, the Irish Heiress. It is an iHeartRadio podcast, but it's available for free anywhere you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts or Stitcher. Anywhere you listen to a podcast, search Queen of the Con, it'll come up. Episodes drop every Thursday. First 2 episodes are up. It's just an insane story.
And once again, she was sentenced to 5 years in Los Angeles.